The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Yeah, sure, the players bring some skill to the game, but if I don't put them in my lineup, who cares? Not me. I'm Eric Rubino, fantasy baseball GM and league runner-up 2 of the last 9 years. I use the progressive Name Your Price tool with options based on my budget. And for a guy that's used to being in control, it fits. Like this runner-up t-shirt. Champ gets a trophy, but you can't wear a trophy. Boom.
Get options based on your budget with Progressive, even if you're not a legend in your own mind. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthmacore Studios near Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, man.
It's the Weedsman Podcast.
I have no idea what's going on.
And now,
You have smoked yourself retarded.
here are the Weedsmen.
You want to get high?
All right, I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron.
And what? When this post will be like, what, a week till Christmas?
Oh, yeah. It's approaching fast.
Yeah. Hooray.
Christmas time. But hey, we got the vaccine starting to be distributed. We have a light at the end of the tunnel, at least.
Oh, a year from now, we'll probably be back to normal-ish.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Well, you and I, we're near the back of the line.
Oh, yeah. Well, my asthma might get me a little bit higher up that line, but I haven't seen it. It's not a sure thing. And anyway, I'm more concerned about herd immunity. Like, yeah, I want the vaccine, but ultimately I want just me having the vaccine doesn't mean much. Me and another, what would it take? I think it was like 270 million people.
Yeah, 70% of the population has to have the vaccine.
Yeah. So in the meantime, it's going to continue to take people from us too soon. Like Tiny Lister.
Debo? COVID took Debo?
Yeah, I was wondering if you had heard about this because there's been...
Oh, man.
This just kind of got buried in all the news that's been happening lately. But yeah, he got COVID already once. And he was, I guess, prior to his death, saying on his social media that he felt like he was getting COVID again. He was symptomatic again, and sure enough, he got it again, and it took him out this time.
Damn. COVID Debo.
Yeah. Or, I mean, who knows? It could be that COVID, did some damage to his body that was kind of the last nail in the coffin, so to speak. But yeah, Debo, best known for Debo, but man, what a worker. And this guy just loved to make movies. It's obvious from his work. We all know him as Debo, the guy who takes the bike, takes everything. Everything that Debo sees is his.
Yes.
But he was also in one of my favorite movies, The Fifth Element. He was the president. He was in Dark Knight. Trying to think, there's not a whole lot of other things that I've seen him in, but if you look at his filmography, it's just stacked. He's doing voiceover work. He's doing movies I've never heard of. I mean, every year there's at least 3 or 4 movie roles that he's doing.
He's in No Holds Barred with Hulk Hogan.
There you go. That's a movie. Wizard Paws. Diamond Cartel, Human Centipede 3. Hey, I'm not judging. I know this sounds like, oh, look, he made a lot of dumb movies.
Hey, Tiny had a mortgage. Yeah.
Dude, this guy made a living acting, right? He paid the bills with this shit. He was living the dream for all I know.
Yeah.
And he also, for somebody who has the looks of a character actor, didn't really get pigeonholed. I mean, it's hard when you're, I don't know, 7 foot tall to not be cast as, as an intimidating character when you just have the presence that he does. He just reeks intimidation. But like I was saying, he wasn't always just the tough guy.
He did have big black guy on lock. May not have always been the tough guy.
Yeah, and I didn't know he was a wrestler. He was known as Z Gangsta. What does that mean? That's not a great name. He was in the WCW.
Sounds about right for WCW.
Nicknamed Zeus. That's right. He did go by Tiny Zeus Lister, right?
Yeah. In the Friday credits, that's what he was listed at.
Right. Yeah. It's such a great character from Friday because it was like he...
Give me your sandwich.
It was like he was... it's like it was a video game, right? And Debo was just that boss that roamed around, and you just had to try and avoid him.
Yeah.
And you didn't want to fight. If he got his hands on you, that's it. It was game over.
I forget. Yeah, there's a lot of games. I'm trying to remember. There was...
Well, one that I just recently played that happens a lot is The Last of Us. You'll go up against these big mushroom-looking zombie things that... Yeah, in the wrong context, that you don't want to get anywhere near them because they'll just literally rip your head off. That is a game that the deaths that happen to your character are so graphic and over the top and fun that I actually enjoy being killed in that game.
I'm trying to think, was it Zelda 2 that introduced us to the concept of the roaming boss?
What would it have been in Zelda 2? I kind of came late to the Zelda franchise because I never really had a Nintendo of my own. So I think the Super Nintendo version would be the one that I really played the most.
No, I'm talking about the Adventures of Link. I'm talking about the Legend of Zelda
Right.
2 on SNES. Trying to think.
So what was it like didn't they have like a big pig-looking guy with the tusks?
I just think it was like in the overworld when you were going in between shit. All of a sudden, every now and then, a random boss would appear, and you'd have to fight him if they came across you on the map.
Right, or like how they do it in like Final Fantasy.
Yes.
They'd be like, I just want to go to the forest, and boom, I ran into a bunch of these fucking schmoes.
Yes. Similar to that, yes. But that's what Debo was.
Yeah, he was the roving boss.
I had a friend give me some homemade weed. Well, homegrown.
You get some homemade.
Yeah,
he knitted it.
Yeah, you got some yarn, some knitting needles. I made you this weed.
You got some homegrown stuff, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty fucking good too. Sweet Tooth from Barney's Farm.
Tooth.
Apparently, it's some strain that won the Cannabis Cup for 10 years straight or some shit.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's Canadian.
It blew my fucking mind. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And he was saying it still could cure for a few more days. But
it was still a little wet when you were smoking it.
I mean, to me, it was still fine. It was fine. I was able to break it up. It wasn't, it wasn't all clumpy. Like it was stinky as shit. It was good shit.
Was it a hybrid or straight indica?
It is, I want to say it's an indica.
Okay.
I looked it up on the Leafly.
Yeah. The depression in my couch tells me it's an indica.
Yeah. But yeah, he just started growing it in August, and he's just now harvesting, and it'll be a good Christmas at his house.
Yeah.
He wants to get another tent. He's like, I want to be able to output more. He's doing it as like a side hustle. And he's got a decent job. He's like, fuck it, you can do this, I'm doing it. Like, he's just all about that money, I guess.
Yeah, it must be nice to be into that. Like, I could probably do it if that was my job, but I don't have a green thumb or anything, and it would be a job. Growing cannabis would always be a job. in my mind. It wouldn't be. Maybe I could grow to enjoy it. Doesn't seem like a bad way to make a living, but yeah, I don't innately love gardening. Some people are just like that. It must be nice to have a hobby. Like all my hobbies, none of them fucking generate shit.
Right.
Buying fucking instruments and comic books and video games. None of this shit makes me any money. Has no hope of ever making me money.
He wants to just do. He initially he moved a year or so ago. He initially was looking for a piece of land that had a pole barn, so he could fill his pole barn with weed.
Yeah, nice.
He eventually wants to pay someone to take care of it for him. That's how much he wants to grow. And he had one of our friends walk him through his first batch, and it turned out all right.
How long has he been growing?
Even when he just started, or the person who walked him through it.
The person that grew this shit.
It's his first time.
No shit.
Even when he went on vacation and fucking almost fried all of his plants because he fucked up his timer.
Yeah.
Like he came back from vacation. He went on vacation for a week. He came back, his shit was half dead because he fucked up something with his lighting timer.
Oh, that sucks.
But he was able to nurse him back to health, and now he's like, yeah, it's cool.
At some point, I have to grow a plant. You know, I don't have a green thumb, but yeah. And I mean, maybe this is the time. I've got space in my basement. I could do it easily. And the only thing that stops me from doing it is the fact that I'm renting, but I've literally never seen my landlord. I pay my shit online. Nobody bothers me. I could have this place just packed with people. I could be subletting my basement. They'd have no idea.
There's this guy named Charlie here. And he's got a bunch of models with him. He's got a guitar.
Yeah.
He says they want to use the place for the night.
Yeah. Well, hey, I already have some secret rooms you might be interested in.
That's true.
I've got some Old Family Purple.
What is that? Is that a disease?
Yeah. Yeah. They gave me some cream that's supposed to go away in a couple weeks.
Is that a strain?
It's just on my elbow. Yeah, Old Family Purple is, I think this has got to be this is an indica strain. I would have figured it was a hybrid, but this is straight indica.
Your live resin?
Yeah, this is a live resin sugar, it's described as. And this one specifically was really goopy. It was super, super runny and had like crystal chunks in it. It's like bigger chunks and more runny. Not the best, but it vaporizes just fine. So it definitely works. I still prefer the drier shit, which was the other strain that I got which one was it? That was the Exotic Green. And that was another strain that I had never heard of. This one I couldn't find whether it was, I believe it to be a hybrid. Couldn't find any actual information on that. And this was just described as live resin. Not live resin sugar or butter or anything, just live resin. And it was very dry, not even waxy. It's like the consistency of good fudge. Like that dense type of fudge that you get when you go to like Frankenmuth or some shit. The type of shit that you can just shave off.
Oh, wow. What you need a knife for?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't tough like that. You didn't need the knife, but it breaks up with the X-Acto much better.
If you're just resining it up over there.
Do you see It's Always Sunny got renewed for 4 more seasons? Excuse me.
How long has this show been on? Like 20 fucking years?
Forever. It seems like was there a point where it went off the air and came back, or did it switch? Did it jump channels at some point? Or is it just like the kind of FX rebrand? I don't know. It seems like I thought it had started off on a different channel.
No, I think it has always been on FX.
FX has been around for a while then. Renewed it for 4 additional seasons, taking it to 18 seasons.
Wow, so it has almost
Which is-
been on for 20 years.
Yeah, which is a record breaker because we've had animated shows that have gone well over that number, but live action shows, the previous record was Ozzie and Harriet that ran for 14 seasons.
Well, what differentiates this from like Law and Order? Law and Order SVU's on like its 22nd season.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, you're right. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that part. Live action comedy.
There you go.
So not live action. No, you're absolutely right. There's been plenty of live action shows that have reached bigger numbers than that.
They're also banking on DeVito living another 4 years, huh?
Hey, he seems like he's doing well.
But he's not young. He's got to be like in his mid-70s at this point. He was old when I was a kid.
Yeah. But he's still all there, it seems like. He still gets around.
He is 76 years old. So they're saying this show's going to be on until he is 80.
Yeah.
I just say Frank Reynolds is one of the best things he's ever done.
It's kind of given him a second career.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like a part two to his comic career. Yeah, because think about it. He was relevant in like the late 70s and early 80s. In the 90s, he kind of became not relevant.
He was,
to be honest,
kitschy,
Yeah.
and there is still a place for that type of campy, little bit of old school humor, but it was starting to fade.
Yeah.
So yeah, by the 2000s, he had to kind of reinvent himself. Mm-hmm. He went the raunchy route, which was a good choice.
Boy, did he ever.
Yeah. I had no idea that there were that many episodes of the show that has been on for that long. I thought they were just constantly running reruns of this show.
Well, it means this year it's been on for 14 years. Jesus.
Right. So I've seen a handful of episodes.
Yeah, I've seen a few. Like I said, there are people I know that are huge fans. Seen every episode. I've seen the most of mine are all from back in the day.
It's a funny show.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's just something. I guess I just really do need somebody to root for, right? I need comedy or drama. I need somebody that I can identify with as a character. And when your whole thing is these people are all disgusting losers.
Yeah, everybody on that show sucks. They're all selfish pricks.
Yeah.
It's like Seinfeld, but if they were worse people.
But then again, we talk a lot about Succession. That's a show that's full of selfish pricks.
Oh, yeah.
Who are constantly screwing themselves and each other over. But they also take time to put little moments in that show you that they're real people.
Yeah, because at some point you find yourself rooting for, I forget the son.
Yeah. At different points in that show, I'm rooting for. At some points, I'm rooting for the father.
Sometimes you're rooting for Tom.
Yeah. No, exactly. Sometimes I am rooting for Tom because he shows a little bit of a vulnerability, and you get a little inclination of where he's coming from and the type of environment that he was raised in, and you feel a little bit of sympathy
and
for him.
Sometimes you even found yourself rooting for what's his name, who Kieran plays.
Oh, I'm always rooting for Kieran. He's the only one who tells the truth.
Yeah, but he's the biggest asshole.
He is the shittiest.
Yeah. But you find yourself rooting for him when you actually see him he actually wants to try to at least be considered to run the company. You actually find yourself rooting for him a little bit. Like, oh, he might pull this off. He's not an idiot.
Right. Well, right, because you assume, I think, in that first season that nobody takes Roman seriously, right?
Yeah,
because
that's his name, Roman.
Nobody takes him seriously because he blows everything off. But then in season 2, you get to realize that, well, maybe the opposite is true. Maybe he's blowing everything off because his whole life nobody's taken him seriously.
Yeah.
You know, a chicken or egg question. So, and
you live up to people's
again,
expectations of you, right?
Right, exactly. So, I mean, I realize that we're talking about apples and oranges here. You know, I'm not saying that It's Always Sunny needs to have some deep introspective moments to make me empathize with these characters. I'm just saying, if that's your thing, if that's your show, I'm just not probably going to watch it very much, you know?
Hey.
It's something that works really well when I see clips online and I go, that show looks funny.
It's been on for 14
but it's just
years.
not going to keep me coming back.
It's been on for 14 years and it's going to be on for 18. So it's obviously being watched, not by us.
That's working.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
You heard that safe drivers get rewarded with Snapshot from Progressive, so you went online to check it out. But then you saw an ad for a vintage baseball cap, and now you find yourself checking the stats of that team's second baseman in '97, wondering why his stolen base total dropped after his rookie season. Wonder how much his rookie card is worth. Yes, they said it was easy to save money with Snapshot from Progressive, but they forgot about the rest of the internet. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California, North Carolina, or from all agents.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Masspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done. There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Masspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.
I mean, look, no surprise. Look, reality TV isn't going anywhere, and I haven't added to those numbers like one bit.
Yeah.
There's not been... I think the closest I've ever gotten to watching reality TV was when I was married, and my wife at the time liked watching the fashion one where they design outfits.
Project Runway.
For people. Yeah, Project Runway, right. So, I mean, this is like interesting fashion, skinny models, you know, Heidi Klum. Like, there's a lot there to keep somebody around and watching that show. But it wasn't really I had zero interest in oh my God, I can't get this done. And I tried to borrow a piece of fabric from them. They were such a bitch. And
all my reality TV show viewing has been female related. Except one. When the band was all living in a house together, we'd watch Rock of Love on Sunday nights simply because it was a bunch of rock skanks all in a house fighting over Bret Michaels. To quote my one buddy who lived in the house with us, he's like, that's the dream. I would love to live in a house with 100 hot bitches and eliminate them. That was... it's like, yeah, good point. That's the only show that's the only show I've ever watched consciously without a female reality show without a female prodding me. You know, like now I watch it with my wife. The only time
you didn't do it for pussy.
Yeah. Well, now I just watch it because it's like something to watch with my wife. That's like fine, whatever. It's brain candy.
I think those shows are almost built for that. Like, if you're not watching them, if you're watching a reality television alone, you're doing it wrong.
Well, too, and the ones my wife watches, it's all ladies yelling at each other. Sometimes it's white ladies, sometimes it's black ladies, but they're all drinking and yelling at each other.
Right. I finished up the first season of Ted Lasso. Man, what a strong finish. You know, it's got a lot of these elements of these type of British comedies were really popular for a while. The Kinky Boots style, right? Saving Grace was another one, weed related.
Mm-hmm.
The one about the men who stripped.
The Full Monty.
The Full Monty, right? These are all like fish out of water stories where they overcome all the odds and nobody takes them seriously, and they end up having this big triumph.
You got to finish that run of the '90s movies. You just bring up Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and you
right. So, there's a lot about this show that is like firmly set in that type of format, and it's very feel goody, but it is done earnestly, much like the character of Ted Lasso. He's like deeply earnest. And it just fucking works, man. I mean, this show has got me crying like a baby over like football, like literally like these guys are playing soccer and they're, one of them's like distraught over his career and what it means and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm feeling it, like that's how good this show is good enough to make me care about sports.
That's Bill Lawrence, though, man. That's what he does. Like, that's what he did with Scrubs. Scrubs would have you laughing 1 minute and crying the next.
Right. And, man, when he knows how to put you in a loose and vulnerable position where you're just like, this show is just great. And he's like, now's when I slide the knife in. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, it's not that you don't expect it. But you're like, oh, God, I didn't know it was going to be that bad.
Oh, man, there is a notorious episode of Scrubs that's got a Sixth Sense thing going on. It's where you don't find out at the end. And then when you realize at the end that the whole time, that this character's been dead, the first time, I remember it's one of those things where I remember the first time, you remember the first time that you saw it. Because I remember the first time I see it, just like by myself in my apartment, crying like a big man baby. The first time I saw this scene, like, because it's just how it's delivered, it just crushes you. I mean, it's gone on to have a reputation as like the most crushing scene in the entire series. I bet if you ask Rich about it, he'll be like, "Yup, first time I saw that, I cried too." Like it's a scene with Brendan Fraser. It's just something that Bill Lawrence does as a director. He knows how to just.
He has taken that format that came pretty much from MASH, right? That dramedy.
Yeah.
Of being able to have ridiculous laughs and even pratfalls alongside of real life shit, And balance that tone so perfectly. I mean, it's tonally such a perfect character, a perfect story. I cannot rave about this show enough. I am just blown away about how good it is. And Jason Sudeikis' performance is flawless.
There's just nothing but good word of mouth about this show. I've yet to hear anybody say anything bad about it.
Yeah. There's just nothing there to hate on. You can't hate him. It's just such a great character. He makes it impossible to hate him. Even said that's one of he has the veteran footballer that's on the team that he's coaching, and he's old and surly. Not old, but he's in his 40s. He's old for sports, and they're having an argument, going back and forth about something, and Ted Lasso's character ends it in like a magic trick. And he's like, you make it really hard to hate you. Or, make it really hard to love you. I said the line wrong. That one makes more sense. And the guy who plays the assistant coach is really great in it too. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything before, but he's just got great deadpan humor.
I'll have to give this another try.
Yeah, I think it's well worth watching. Like, even if you don't find it revelatory. I'm not saying that this is like, the greatest television show of the year. I'm just saying like it set out to hit a tone and do a certain thing, and it did it 100%. It succeeded on every level that it set out to.
I think I said this last week, but 98% from the audience on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
That's like pretty much everyone going.
It's very
like,
rare.
Yeah. Everybody loves it. Watch it.
Right. And I'm surprised there aren't just a bunch of people going, well, I'm not really into football, so I didn't even watch that. I watched half an episode and said, oh, it's about soccer? 1 star.
Yeah. It's true, right? It's about a sport. So, yeah, it's still probably the toxic masculinity crowd.
Yeah.
Because it's about,
I'm sure
it's about competing against each other.
I was BSing with my ex earlier today about shows that we were watching, and I said, yeah, check out Ted Lasso. And she's like, isn't that a sports thing? And I'm like, dude, just seriously, check it out. Yes, it's about sports. But, A League of Their Own was about baseball, and I still love that movie.
Yeah, good point.
So, yeah, that and The Flight Attendant I've really been enjoying. That was another show where I was like, I don't really think that's for me. And I'm not really familiar, like, what's her name? Kaylee? Katie Kuko? Cuckoo?
Kaylee Penny.
Right. So I don't know her character really on the show. I'm not a watcher of The Big Bang. And I know she's did the voice for Harley Quinn in the animated series. Does a decent enough job on that. But I saw the advertisements for the show, and I'm like, oh, it kind of looks like Sex and the City type of thing, right? Young, single, jet-setting young woman. She gets to travel all over, has this glamorous life. Like, I don't think that's really the show for me. And then, somebody had mentioned there's a twist. I think I read somewhere there's some sort of twist in the first episode. And, people were... The more I was hearing about it, I'm like, I don't even understand what this show is about. So that made me curious enough to dive in. And I'm glad I did. Because it's a really interesting show. And I don't really want to talk about anything about the plot because it's really easy to spoil. There's something that happens in the first episode. It's kind of unexpected and, really unexpected. And, sets up the whole story, and it's the thing that actually makes it interesting, and not just about young sexy flight attendant. But yeah, it's funny, it's tense, it's an exciting show, it's weird. Like when she talks to herself, she kind of goes into, she has like a mind palace that she sits in. It's weird to describe. Again, I can't describe any of this without giving it away. So that's all we'll say for now.
Critics like it, people don't.
Yeah.
It's got 98 with the critics, 69 with the audience.
That makes sense. It's doing things that it doesn't really need to, right? It's making decisions that it could just make the safe decision and say the show's going to be this. It's going to be this type of show. And I think, people would be fine with it. But it's not. It's making some braver choices, I believe. And making the show more unique, and I think that's what really tends to turn people off.
Oh, I can tell you why that. I know why the critics like it just by the description. Kaylee Cuoco shines as a hot mess in The Flight Attendant, an addictively intriguing slice of stylish pulp that will bring mystery aficionados to cloud nine. It's just trying to be fancy for the film, for the art house crowd. Wait, is it an art house film? Is that something that lets you know you're over 40?
Oh, right. It's an age-identifying term.
Yeah. Sounds like fans of the Projection Booth podcast would probably like The Flight Attendant.
I'm really enjoying it. I really am. It's another, I think this one's a HBO Max exclusive.
Yeah, HBO Max is just going to own the rest of the fun that Disney doesn't, huh?
Yeah. And I'm surprised at how much I'm enjoying, how do you pronounce her name? Is it Kaylee? We'll just stick with the first name,
yes.
But it's Kaylee, right? Okay. I'm really surprised at how much I like her. Because again, I've seen like clips of the show and whatever, and all the humor is just broad and ridiculous.
Oh, The Big Bang Theory.
And yeah,
I watched it for a couple seasons, and then they started turning into cartoon characters, and I was out.
Right. So there was nothing there that was no impressive work to look upon.
Like I just found that show funny for a minute because I actually knew people liked some of these characters. But again, like I said, once they actually started turning into cartoon, because sitcoms do that. They start turning into caricatures of the characters they were. That's when you lose me. But yeah,
But in this show, she's the lead, and she's carrying the whole fucking show.
She's got good comic timing. She was technically the lead in The Big Bang Theory. She was the female lead.
Yeah, she does. She really does. Her timing is great. Her physical comedy with her expressions. She's just engaging to watch. I mean, she really is just beautiful and funny, and just I'm totally charmed by her. Even though she's a complete mess. She is a complete mess.
I forgot. I learned where she came from. Like, it wasn't The Big Bang Theory. It was something...
Yeah.
Let me...
You know what the show actually reminds me more of is Fleabag. If you take out the mystery part of the show, you basically have Fleabag, which I found a very enjoyable show. It's a very dark, very twisted, and very funny show. Fleabag is, and so is this one.
It seemed to be like the dark horse comedy of last year was Fleabag.
Yeah.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
What do you want to da-da-da? What do y'all want to da-da-da? I have no idea what to da-da-da. We could switch to Progressa da. Oh, yeah? We could switch to Progressa and sa. Okay. We could sa and have to buy some za. Oh, yeah. Let's switch to Progressa to da and get some za with the money we saw. Yeah. Now we know we're gonna da-da-da.
These days, nothing is normal and everything is weird. But you could still save big when you switch to Progressive. It might just be the most normal thing you da-to-da.
Quote to da at Progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Look in your home. Look in your office. Look in your home office. Everywhere you turn, there's so much smart. At Capella University, we think education should be smart too. Our game-changing FlexPath format puts you in control of your master's degree, so you can learn how, when, and where you want. Smart, huh? Yeah, we think so too. So if you want to take the next step in your career, make Capella your first step. Visit capella.edu to learn more. Capella University. Don't just learn smarter.
ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.
So, speaking of dark, we're going to get that Zack Snyder cut that, all the fans ranted and raved for until they finally got it. Which I know I've been sucking HBO Max's dick, but come on. That's the worst. I can't believe I would not release the Snyder cut out of principle at this point. Do you really want your decisions on what movies you make driven by Twitter?
Well, I mean, smart people would say no, but I mean, we live
Right.
in a society where Twitter can get newspapers to alter their headlines. So,
Right. Well, apparently there might actually be a theatrical release, which this thing is going to be 4 hours long. Like, who the fuck is going to go in the theater and see this thing? And if it does hit the theaters, it's probably going to get an R rating because, hold on, kids, Batman says fuck.
oh no.
Zack Snyder reveals there's one scene where Batman drops an F-bomb. Cyborg is not too happy with what's going on with his life before he meets the Justice League, and he tends to speak his mind. And Steppenwolf is pretty much just hacking people in half. So the rating would be due to the violence, profanity, probably both.
So is this for the Justice League? They're doing this?
Yeah, this is the recut. This is the Justice League movie that they already made and released. So this is the one that Zack Snyder was originally helming. He had a family tragedy. He had when his kid died, committed suicide, I believe. And That's when they brought in Joss Whedon to take over. And in the meantime, the whole thing, there were all these reshoots and restructuring the film. They took all this, what was apparently supposed to be, they're supposed to be shooting 2 movies concurrently. You know, they knew that there was going to be, why just make one Justice League movie? You've got everyone there. You can knock out 2 movies. So that was the idea. But then, you know, they're working on this, the Avengers is coming out, and, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy and all this Marvel stuff is coming out. And the studio is probably getting nervous. And they're like, oh, we need this and we need that. And we need it to be like more like these Marvel movies. So between the 2 directors, the studio involvement, and the fact that Warner Brothers has just been a mess when it comes to how they're handling their DC property in general, you ended up with something that was drastically different from what Zack Snyder originally envisioned. And I'll agree with that. Like, it's different. It's not what he intended. Shit happens, move on. You know when Zack Snyder gets to make this up? On his next movie, right?
But instead...
we don't need to keep going back and doing these over. We don't have a limited supply of superheroes, right? There's almost an infinite number of superheroes and combinations. And
so what, did they reshoot the reshoots? Like what? I don't.
Well, yeah, no, there were reshoots on the original production when Joss Whedon came in. Now, you know, years later, they brought some people back. I guess they own the actual reshot portion, the addition. I shouldn't say reshot. There was additional scenes, stuff that Zack Snyder never got to on his original run on the production. But that's only going to equate to like 4 or 5 minutes worth of screen time, actually. Most of it is just salvaging the stuff from the cutting room floor from the first edit and stitching it back together into a 4-hour long epic. So, I don't know. It's going to be on HBO Max. I will have HBO Max. So it's not like I'm going to protest it. I'll watch it even just out of curiosity to see what was different. And it does sound like, I'm not knocking Zack Snyder. Like I've liked some of his movies. I've not so much on the others, but he's always had a vision and a look that I've appreciated. He has a visual style that I've enjoyed. I think he's a good director, and he chooses interesting movies to work on. I want to see more of what he is. That's why I don't want to see him waste more time going back into a failed project like Justice League. Why would you want to waste your time doing that? Then again, maybe it just gets stuck in his craw, you know? That project that he wasn't able to finish. So we'll see. But there's no way in fucking hell that I'm going to a theater to go to see this. Especially not for 4 hours.
Well, yeah, especially if it's going to be in your living room now. Why the fuck wouldn't it? Going to pay for?
Here's something. If movie theaters want to survive in the future, this is my suggestion. COVID aside, we're going to, come out the other side of this eventually, and we're going to want to go out and do things. And movies are going to be amongst those things that we do. What would make me more likely to go see the future productions that are going to be hitting the theaters is that if you just instituted a policy, if the movie's over 2 hours long, you put a break in somewhere. 5 minutes, everyone gets up, uses the bathroom. It's not going to ruin the fucking movie. It's something that we all do when we're at home. It didn't fucking ruin the movie for us.
Yeah.
And it'll actually make me more relaxed, right? Then I can just sit there and watch the rest of the movie and not go, how much longer is this movie going to be? I'm enjoying it, but it looks like they're wrapping up, but it just never ends. Like, or just that anxiety of like, this is the first time I'm seeing it. When's a good time to go to the bathroom? Oh, this seems like a lull in the story. Maybe I can sneak out and go now.
Oh, I've always been a proponent of if I ever find myself during your movie going, oh my God, hey, what time is it? That's a bad sign.
Oh yeah, if you're wondering, yeah, that you're not engaged.
Like, oh my God, how long is this? How much more longer am I going to be sitting? If I'm starting to check the time, going, Jesus Christ, how long this movie is, it's not good.
Yeah.
I believe I found myself doing that in the second Star Wars one, whichever one the Rian Johnson one was, the one where Luke dusted off his shoulder. I remember during that movie going, Jesus Christ, how fucking long is this movie?
That was the one that I was the most engaged with.
And I definitely did that with the Clone Wars. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I wasn't even at the movies. I was in a friend's living room like, oh my God, how long is this movie? How long does it take to fucking tell you where the stormtroopers came from and to show you how Padme gets knocked up? Why does it take 4 hours to show you this?
Yeah. Bill Burr was back on The Mandalorian on this last episode.
That's right. What is he?
He's a stormtrooper.
Nice.
But he like
voice?
gets into No. He gets into some trouble. I can't remember he's part of a crew that they break out of prison to do there's a heist episode in the first season that he's part of an ensemble. And then they bring his character back for this episode. So I was actually I was watching a clip. He was talking to, I think it was one of the guys from Barstool Sports. And he was talking about doing Star Wars coming from somebody who was never really into that shit. Mm-hmm. And also the type of comedian that just kind of rips on everything.
Yeah.
So... yeah, of course he's done his fair share of making fun of Star Wars nerds. He calls it Space Muppets, the Space Muppets movies.
That sounds about right for Bill.
He's talking about being on set, and he's like, I'm talking to so and so, and he's got horns coming out of his head. This guy's got tentacles. He's like, I'm on the set of fucking Fraggle Rock.
And there are probably actors and comedians that are contemporaries of him that would fucking kill to have his role.
Yeah. But he also said, he said in this interview, he was that, so I guess, I can't remember who it was that was involved with the Mandalorian stuff, but they actually said that they had a role for him. They wrote that role with him in mind.
Nice.
And so they came to him and what are you going to do? Like, hey, a major property, and this role was written for you. How can you say no to that, even if you're not a fan? But then he said when he looked at the script and looked at the type of show that The Mandalorian was, he said, if I'd known that, I would have been calling them going, hey, I want to be involved in this. And because he's a very big fan of the Western style that they're going for. Very old school cowboys and Indians type of feel to the show.
And you're getting that Disney Star Wars money, son.
And the checks cash just fine, I'm sure. Yeah.
But you sure Patton Oswalt's got to be writing
justify a lot of material.
You got to think though, Patton Oswalt's got to be writing the creators of this. Like, come on, you can't give me a line, can't give me something.
Right.
Just put me in the Star Wars universe.
It must drive him nuts. Like, he's out there doing Star Wars material, and I'm not saying like he's a Star Wars cop, but he's kind of known for like that thing that he did on Parks and Rec, right?
Yeah.
And and he certainly talked about the stuff in his stand up, and he's not been shy about his fandom. He's a comic book lover. He's a sci-fi lover. He loves all that shit. And Bill Burr's out. He's the jock that's making fun of all the Patton Oswalts, and he's having this shit written for him.
Yeah.
And Patton Oswalt can't get on the fucking show. Like, give him a Star Wars show already. If we're putting Amy Sedaris as a reoccurring character on Mandalorian, there's got to be somewhere that Patton fits in. And I'm not knocking Amy Sedaris either, but I'm sure she's another one who's like, you want me to be on what?
I can't be the voice of Baby Yoda's friend. When they make their version of Poochie, I can't be the voice.
So we should talk about some weed real quick before we wrap up, because there was some news this week. The federal government re-upped its deal for cannabis. Now, remember last week we talked about, we know that the House passed the MORE Act, and then they also passed I forget what they referred to it as, but it was basically Research Act. It was, federal funding and guidelines for testing and all this shit. Let's do some research into cannabis. So they need cannabis to do that research on. And they re-upped their deal with the University of Mississippi. Yeah, it was in Mississippi. So we've talked about this before. There's only one place that can legally grow cannabis according to the federal government, and that's the University of Mississippi. It grows 100% of the weed that the federal government tests to do anything. Test for how it affects humans, test for what types of medicines could possibly be derived from it. All the stuff that the federal government does or that the federal government directly funds can only use cannabis coming from the University of Mississippi.
Because when you think of states that know how to grow cannabis,
right,
you think Mississippi.
There was a quote in here from the NIDA. That was the National Institute on Drug Abuse.
This place should be in Northern California, by the way.
And this group, along with the DEA, I guess, that's who's responsible for making this decision. So according to this new notice from the NIDA, only one responsible source and no other supplies or services will satisfy agency requirements. That one supplier will continue to be the University of Mississippi, as the agency stipulated that it will not be providing for full and open competition and determining who gets to grow the only federally approved cannabis. So, according to NIDA, this is the only, out of all the cannabis that's growing across the whole country, this cannabis. So the cannabis that they've been getting for decades now, since the 60s, they've been getting this Schwag from them. And this is the only place that they can rely on to give them cannabis for testing.
This place should be at the University of California in Berkeley. All right, it should be in Humboldt County.
Well, we've seen what comes out of the University of Mississippi. It's worse than Schwag. Anybody would, if you rolled this shit in and gave it away for 50 cents at a dispensary, people would be pissed.
I went to my yard, grabbed a handful of my lawn, and tossed it in a Ziploc bag.
It's literally, are you sure this is actually weed? Like, you would not be able to, it looks more like hemp. It's more chemically similar to hemp because it's very, very low THC. It's not cured properly. It doesn't smoke properly. It's harsh. People who have participated in studies where they've consumed this by smoking it complain of getting headaches, of having to smoke massive amounts of the shit to even get remotely high. So keep that in mind.
Well, tip me off as
next time
WIID. All right.
Because if they do actually vote on this in the Senate, and Mitch McConnell gets up there and says, we're not going to pass this right now, and here's why. It's not because we think it's evil. It's because we haven't done enough testing on it. Okay, people, just calm down. We just need some more time to test it. And this is their only source for testing it. They're going to continually, decade after decade, re-up from the same fucking shitty dealer and try and use that as a basis to judge cannabis and its effects on people in this country. It's not even close.
Not by a long shot.
So some other notices from the federal government. They did put out a notice to a lot of federal employees, specifically those who work at in transit and some of the others. Yeah, okay, so here it is. This is coming from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. They put out a memo saying, while several states have made changes to their state drug laws during this year's election, I would like to reiterate, I guess, I in this case being Ron Flegel, the director of the Divisions of Workplace Programs at SAMHSA, SAMHSA. Ron Flegel. My grandmother had a stuffed frog whose name was Flegel.
Huh?
And I don't
Small
know if
world.
it was named that. Yeah. Big gulps, huh? So he says, let's see, I would like to reiterate that there have been no changes to the drug testing panel under the federal drug-free workplace program. So just a little reminder from your good old Uncle Sam. That
No partying on the weekends.
Yeah. Regardless of where this is legal, to whom, what age you are, it's still 100% illegal as far as the federal government's concerned. And yes, you could lose your job if you are a federal employee and test positive for cannabis.
Buzzkills.
But the TSA, though, they had their own announcement, but it wasn't a warning to federal employees. It was a celebration of National Brownie Day in kind of a weird way. They posted this to their Instagram. We're here, it's National Brownie Day. So we're here to toke about something really sticky, icky, ooh-wee. Hopefully this doesn't post near 420 because we're about to doobie down. That just...
Who the fuck? Wait, what?
That just sounds like a grandmother in a sitcom, right?
Yeah.
We're going to go doobie down.
Who did that first?
Peace up, homeboy.
Yeah. We hate weed puns on this show. You just used like 9 of them in a row. Why did the TSA? So why did the TSA write this?
Well, they wanted to remind people about traveling with cannabis. Marijuana, whether dank or schwag, it isn't dope to carry on or in your carry-on or checked bag. Is this supposed? Oh, it's rhyming. Also, well, it's rhyming, but it's not it's anyway. I'm not going to get into criticizing their grammar. The post says establishing a rhyme scheme and then immediately disregarding it says this includes cannabis products and CBD oil, which remain illegal under federal law except for products that contain no more than 0.3% THC on a dry weight basis or that are FDA approved. Really? So they don't have tests. They can't test
if it's in the Ziploc
to see
bag,
whether you're carrying hemp.
Prove it's not a brownie.
Right.
Prove it's not just a regular fucking brownie.
So I don't know why they chose National Brownie Day to do that.
Because apparently they think the only way you can eat pot anymore is in a brownie.
That's what I was thinking. Like, have brownies fallen that far out of favor that they are just now assumed that if somebody talks about I'm going to eat a brownie, they mean that it has cannabis in it?
Brownies are good. With or without
brownies
weed.
are good. That should be a staple dessert. Brownies are what are the pizza of the snack foods. In all forms, even the shittiest brownie.
Yeah, everyone likes
Go get the fucking Little Debbie smashed in with that waxy fucking coating on the top and those hard little multicolored like nuggets in it. And they're fucking delicious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. I think that's a good comparison. Even the shitty brownie, you're still eating a brownie.
The shittiest, waxiest tasting gas station fucking brownie is still a fucking brownie, and you're going to eat every last bite of it.
Yeah. I concur.
So, yeah. That's my legacy.
The brownies are delicious.
The brownies are the pizza of snack food.
Well, yeah, they come in a sheet. You cut them up.
Yeah. Well, in some places you can even get like essentially it's a brownie pizza.
Oh yeah, they do that now. Yeah.
Yeah.
The brookie.
And then you get to put the icing on it. Ooh. Plus, they even make walnuts taste good.
See, I'll dust the walnuts if I can extract the nuts from a brownie. I will.
Well, yeah. No, the big ones are getting kicked right off like they're a fucking football.
I've never understood adding nuts to chocolate, even a chocolate bar. It's like, hey, you want to ruin this chocolate? Put nuts in it. The only thing I ever get on board with was the Mr. Good bar because it was peanuts.
Nuts and chocolate are okay. I don't like them with my ice cream.
See, I'm just keep the nuts out of everything.
That's right. Nuts out, people.
As she said.
All right. Well, let's wrap up.
All right. After all that hot nut talk, it's time to... sounds like Grinders podcast. Follow us on Twitter at the Weisman420. You can also like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram at the Weisman Podcast. Go to ChristopherMedia.net. Click on the Amazon banner while you're ordering your stuff for Christmas. Only 1 week left. You help us out. Doesn't make your stuff cost anything. Doesn't make your stuff any more expensive, and everybody wins. There's a PayPal banner you can click where you can subscribe, or you can just give us money if you feel like it. We take money. Yeah, we take money. We also take ratings. We take reviews. Do that wherever you can listen to us. Everywhere rates and reviews now, not just Apple Podcasts, which is where you can find us, but also Spotify, Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. Somebody I'm sure I'm missing, but if it catches a podcast, an RSS feed, we are there. So thank you for listening, and stay high.
Stay high.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Masspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done. There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Masspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.